a difference a day makes.
Absolutely.
The Fed comes out day before yesterday, coins the term unusual uncertainty, which scares everyone. Very scary term, it sounds like.
If you check out the blog from yesterday, you can see the spike in the price of mortgage-backed securities when Bernanke actually said that statement. You might want to check it out. It's yesterday's blog.
Same information, unusual uncertainty. One day later, coupled with the existing home sales not being quite as bad as they had thought, and leading indicators also not being as bad as they thought, kind of gives you the impression that the market is looking for anything it can hold on to. With any good news.
Hey,
just give us something.
Yeah, I would say that what we call that volatility.
Volatility. What do you got, John? What do you think of all this?
Well, I've got kind of a little bit of a rant about home ownership in the United States and a new reform that the Obama administration is going to be putting out pretty soon. You're going to be reading about it. But just kind of going back to Bernanke's speech from Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, the market's just really, really volatile. They're kind of hanging on any kind of news, any kind of statement from the Fed, or any kind of economic indicator is going to really drive rates in any direction. You know, one of the things Bernanke said on Wednesday was he was going to look for low inflation over the next couple of years.
Which is really good.
That's good. That's great for rates. High inflation is what really scares rates, and that's what's going to drive our rates up here in the future. But for right now, coupled with what he said and what the economic indicators are saying, everything's looking pretty good for slow, sustained growth here in the future. And couple that with low interest rates, great time to buy. Speaking of buying, let's talk about another Reform Act. You know, the President signed the Financial Reform Act into law on Wednesday. Before the ink was even dry on that document, they proposed a new reform bill. So just to kind of cover it all, they've already done medical reform. Now there are healthcare reform. Now they've done financial reform. Now they want to do home ownership reform, and they want to reform the way that you look and I look at home ownership in the United States. One of the things they said in the statement is that they understand that over the past couple of decades that it's been government policy to spur home ownership with lower rates and incentives like USDA, FHA, with easier to get loan programs, easier to buy a house. Now, if you remember right, though, 6 months, 8 months ago, they were saying, hey, they had nothing to do with it. It was actually the big banks and Wall Street that had everything to do with it. Now they're reiterating and saying, okay, maybe government policy does have something to do with it. So what we're going, interesting. So yeah, there's a whole other show about that, by the way. So what they're proposing to do is to slow down home ownership and change the way you think of home ownership. And to
renting affordable.
Yeah, so one of the things they said is they wanted to put out affordable housing on the rental side of it and push rental more than they do home ownership. And the way they're going to do this is by driving down payments higher and interest rates up. That doesn't sound like a very good thing for our economy. That's going to take away jobs in the construction industry. Higher rates mean higher costs for people. And number one,
good news, Section 8 may be hiring shortly.
Section 8, yeah, for Section 8 housing. So I guess my point would be, if they control healthcare now, they control the financial world, now they want to control home ownership and where you actually live, and they really want you to rent. Who's going to own the properties that people are going to rent in if they're driving home ownership out, which means probably investment properties too? Does that mean they're going to have a bunch of government housing out there that everybody's going to live in? You know, what project are you from? So I guess my point here is that the government seems to be taking control of every aspect of our lives right now, and they're doing it at a very fast pace. In the first 18 months of this administration, there's been so many reforms, and people are wondering, Jason, why the economy is not doing better than it is. Well, I tell you why it's not doing better. It's because businesses are scared of what's going to happen with the government, what new regulation is coming around the pipe. So, you know, we've had healthcare, we've had financial reform, and now this. What the government needs to do if they really want to help this economy out is they need to take a step back, let big business, let small business take that money they have on the sidelines and put it out in the economy in the form of new jobs. And they're not going to do that until the government slows down on all these quote-unquote reforms that they have proposed or already put into place. So government, step back, let the small business owner, let the industry do what it can to create those jobs, because that's the only way we're going to have a healthy economy.
John, the dream of home ownership is not not new. This hasn't been even in the last couple of administrations.
Right.
This has been going on for years and years and years, and the majority of people in America hold the majority of their wealth in their home. That's not going to change.
Yeah. You know, Fannie Mae's been around for almost 80 years, so is FHA. Guys, home ownership is part of the American dream. We don't want to be some other country in some other place in the world. We're the United States of America, and home ownership is important to us. And if the administration goes forward with this home ownership reform, I think there's going to be a big backlash on it too, because home ownership is not just about the guy living in the property, it's about all the jobs it creates around it too.
Sure. All right, good stuff, guys.
All right.
Austin Real Estate Daily, www.austinrealestatedaily. A couple of mortgage guys talking about finance and anything else that's going on out there in real estate. So be sure to check us out. We'll see you next time.
All right, bye-bye.